Today, let's dive into one of the most famous ideas in all of psychology, something that helps us understand what really gets us out of bed in the morning. It's a story about the two great journeys we're all on in life, one driven by what we're missing and the other by what we can become.
So let me just start by asking you this. Think about your life right now. Are your day-to-day actions driven more by what you lack or by what you could become? Seriously, that one question, it gets right to the heart of Abraham Maslow's work, and it's how we can split all of our motivations into two very powerful and very different categories. All right, so what truly motivates us? To answer that, we got to look at the school of thought Maslow is part of, humanistic psychology. See, where some other theories tended to focus on what's broken or wrong with people, the humanistic approach flipped the script. It's all about our potential, our drive for creativity and wisdom, basically what it means to be a healthy, fully realized person. And that is exactly what Abraham Maslow was fascinated by. He wasn't really interested in studying the average person. No, he wanted to understand the exceptional ones. He studied people who were really firing on all cylinders, reaching their absolute full potential. And he gave them a name: the self-actualizing person. Now, to explain how we get there, he came up with a brilliant visual model that you've probably seen before, the famous hierarchy of needs. The best way to think of it is as a kind of roadmap for what drives us humans, starting from the absolute basics and building its way up to the very top. So how does this roadmap work? Well, it's built in 5 levels. Right at the bottom, the foundation, you've got your physiological needs. We're talking air, water, food, sleep, the stuff you literally can't live without. Once that's covered, you move up to safety needs, having a roof over your head, feeling secure. Then comes belongingness and love, friends, family, connection. Above that, esteem needs. That's our desire for respect and a feeling of accomplishment. And then finally, sitting right at the very peak, is self-actualization, the drive to become everything you are possibly capable of being.
Now, there's one simple but powerful rule that makes this whole pyramid work. It's called prepotency. All it means is that the lowest unmet need will always scream the loudest for your attention. I mean, think about it. You can't really worry about your creative legacy or your life's purpose if you're starving or don't know where you're going to sleep tonight. You've got to have a solid foundation before you can start building the skyscraper.
Okay, and this right here, this brings us to the absolute core idea of this whole explainer. Maslow said that as we climb this pyramid, the very nature of our motivation fundamentally changes. He basically split the pyramid into 2 completely different zones run by 2 different kinds of drive. So those first 4 levels we talked about, physiological, safety, belongingness, and esteem, Maslow called all of these deficiency needs, or D needs. And the name pretty much says it all, right? You're motivated by these things because you have a deficiency of them. You're hungry, so you need food. You're lonely, so you need connection. You're basically just trying to fill a hole. And the principle that governs all of this is something called homeostasis. The best analogy is a thermostat. When the room gets too cold, the heat kicks on. As soon as it hits the target temperature, it shuts right off. Desires work in exactly the same way. The motivation switches on when you're lacking something, and it switches off the second that need is met. The drive just vanishes. But then you get to the top of the pyramid, and the rules of the game totally change. Self-actualization isn't about filling a hole, it's about expansion. Maslow called this growth motivation, and it's driven by our being needs, or B needs. This isn't about what you lack anymore. It's all about what you can become. It's that endless, ongoing desire to keep growing. So let's just put these two side by side, because this is so important. The journey of D needs is the journey of getting to enough. It's driven by a lack, it's all about getting back to balance, and as soon as you get what you need, the motivation drops. But the journey of B needs, that's the journey of becoming. It's driven by your potential, it's all about continuous growth, and here's the real kicker, the more you feed this motivation, the stronger it gets. It never switches off, it just finds new things to be curious about, new mountains to climb.
So, if growth motivation is the engine, what's the destination? What does it actually look like to be a person who's mainly driven by these B needs? Who is this self-actualized person? Maslow really nailed the essence of this drive with this quote: "What a man can be, he must be." You hear that? It's not just a casual desire or a wish. It feels like a necessity, an inner calling you just have to answer to become the person you are meant to be.
And to figure out what this state looked like, Maslow didn't just guess. He actually studied the lives of people he thought were great examples of self-actualization, people like Lincoln and Einstein and folks from his own time like Eleanor Roosevelt.
He dug into their biographies to find the common threads. What did all these incredible people have in common?
And the picture that emerged from his research is just fascinating. For starters, self-actualized people are reality-centered. They can spot phoniness from a mile away. They're also problem-centered, not self-centered, meaning they focus their energy on solving problems outside of themselves. They have a deep sense of autonomy, so they don't easily bend to social pressure. And they tend to be spontaneous and simple. They'd rather just be themselves than put on a show.
And the list goes on. They keep a freshness of appreciation, which means they can find wonder in things others take for granted. They feel a deep compassion for humanity as a whole. They also tend to have a few very deep, meaningful friendships rather than a ton of shallow ones. And they report having more peak experiences, those incredible moments of intense joy and connection where you feel one with the world.
But, and this is so important, Maslow was really clear that this is not about being perfect. Self-actualized people are not saints. They feel anxiety and guilt, but it's realistic guilt over real mistakes, not pointless worry. They can even be cold or ruthless sometimes. They are 100% human, not flawless statues. Okay, so what does all of this mean for us in our actual lives? Because understanding this model isn't just a cool academic exercise, it's a really powerful tool for knowing yourself better.
First thing to get, your spot on this pyramid is not fixed. Life happens, right? A sudden crisis, a breakup, or major stress can knock you right back down to a lower level. For example, if you lose your job, all that focus on career achievement and recognition just evaporates. Suddenly, your whole world revolves around that fundamental need for safety and security. We're constantly moving up and down this thing.
And this brings us right back to the beginning. Figuring out whether you're being driven by deficiency or by growth, well, that's incredibly revealing. It's the difference between taking a job just for the paycheck, a safety need, and choosing a path that truly lights you up. It helps you see the why behind what you do. Are you running from something you lack, or are you running towards your potential?
So I'll leave you with the same question we started with, but maybe now it hits a little differently. Take an honest look at your life today. Which journey are you really on, right now? Are you on the journey of enough, just trying to satisfy a need? Or are you on the journey of becoming, actively trying to fulfill your potential? The answer to that question, well, that holds the key to everything that truly motivates you.